Degens? Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the perfect one, AJ. With me, as always, is the man with the numbers, the sportsbook whisperer, the college basketball guru, Mr. Noah Engelbretts. And Noah, it has been a minute, so I've got to ask you, how the hell are you doing today on this Monday?
Hey Jay, I'm doing great. I've been watching a lot of NBA playoffs, a lot of NHL coming down to the wire. I've actually been out at some bars for a couple of these Timberwolves Grizzlies
Ooh.
games,
Ooh.
secretly under my breath cheering for the Grizzlies. Not not that I care too much. It's just always funny to watch the Timberwolves blow a fourth quarter lead, which they've done twice this series already.
No, absolutely. And hey, also, can we talk real quick about no, we'll talk NBA in a minute. But no, Noah, I'm glad to hear that, bro. It's been a good one, dude. I mean, great weekend of sports. I mean, hockey going into its final week. We're seeing everyone kind of contend. We're seeing some seating being kind of lined up already. The MLB in full swing, seeing some great games. Shout out to the Diamondbacks being the Dodgers on Monday. That was Tuesday, excuse me. That was awesome.
One of those days.
It was one of those days, dude. My schedule this week, I have no idea if today is Thursday, Saturday, or Wednesday, bro. It could be fucking June 19th, and I would not know it right now. But that's a conversation for later. Noah, I gotta say though, why my mind is in an absolute scramble right now is because I log onto the show. We talk a little bit before screen. I pull up ESPN to make sure I haven't missed any news on the day. And I see probably one of the saddest headlines in the history of my life as a sports fan, at least. Okay? And this is going to be a hot take. Might be a little controversial for you out there. So if you're a Karen, go ahead, stay away. Don't cancel me on this. Arizona Cardinals. They pick up Kyler Murray's fifth-year option, now under contract through 2023. Guarantee salary of $29 million for next season, going pretty much where quarterbacks are going to. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. I'm done with it. Bro, I'm done with it. I'm done. Okay, first he scrubs his social media. Then his agent comes out and says, we need a deal by draft. If we don't have a deal by draft, Kyler's not playing. And now we extend him. He's going to play. I am sick and tired of this this childish drama, bro. Like, he didn't perform in the playoffs. The difference between him and all of the other quarterbacks that signed a big deal after their fourth year is that they won a playoff game. Kyler Murray not only choked in his playoff game, he did not try in his playoff game. And so now here he is, pouting, I want my money, I want to get paid. No, prove that you can pay, and then I'm okay paying you. Cardinals, good for you for signing him on this last year option. I would have preferred that we got trade value out of him. However, if we have to be stuck with him for another year, fine with $29 million against the cap and everything like that. Let's just get rid of this season, see if we can get value midseason before the trade deadline, get him out of town, and get a competent quarterback in there who's actually going to win you a Super Bowl. Kyler Murray said he's here in Arizona to win a Super Bowl. Play like it, bro. You have not showed me one game where you can play like a Super Bowl champion. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm done. Noah, what are your thoughts? God, why did we sign him?
Yeah, I don't think he's the root. I don't think he's the biggest root of problems in Arizona. I think Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim are bigger issues than Kyler Murray.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Noah,
Yeah.
come on.
Hey, if the Cardinals had a competent coach, they'd put the quarterback in his place and tell him what he needs to he'd be more disciplined if he had a coach that was actually on him about anything. But yeah, Kingsbury's just not. He's not the right fit. I think Kingsbury and Keim are bigger issues than Kyler Murray.
I will give you Kingsbury. I'll give you Kingsbury. Kingsbury, I've had issues with Kingsbury. We can look at his record through college and through the pros. Through the end of the season, he has a very bad slide. Steve Keim, on the other hand, he's put together a hell of a roster. He's been the best GM for the Cardinals since that 2008 roster with Kurt Warner and everything. I will yes, Steve Keim picked the correct player in Kyler Murray. He did not pick the correct person in Kyler Murray. And same thing with fuckface's name. I can't remember right now. Who's our coach? Kingsbury. I'm so mad right now. He picked the right coach in Kingsbury. He didn't pick the right person in Kingsbury. And all it comes down to is perseverance and being able to push through. And these guys have not shown me that they're able to do either of those. This disgusts me to no end. I will not be happy until Kyler Murray is out of Arizona. He is more toxic to this team than anyone realizes.
All right. Can't say I share your frustrations, but
Well, you're not a Cardinals fan, and if you don't see us in the playoffs, you don't have to worry about us as a Packers fan. So you got your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, all happy dandy, and then you're gonna go get a couple epic wide receivers in the draft tomorrow. Like you're on cloud nine as a Packers fan, bro.
I was gonna say if we do see you in the playoffs, I'm not worried. I'm not worrying about seeing you in the playoffs because if we do, I'm gonna be happy.
No, I would be happy too, bro. I'd be happy too. But, let's talk a little bit, and we won't get too much into it, but we're a sports show. We got to talk about it. The draft is tomorrow. The NFL draft, probably the most important draft in all of sports. We'll be live. We'll be live for the whole first round, however long that takes. We know they love to take their sweet-ass time in the first round, hoping for some epic trades. I've got my mock draft all set. Noah, is there anything you want to kind of tease a little bit? You see anything happening tomorrow? Anything kind of going on that you think is going to happen that we'll talk about a shit ton more tomorrow because we're going to have 5 hours of content to record?
Yeah, there's a couple things I'm waiting to see about. I'll just note on probably the two biggest ones I'm waiting for. And that is, first one, biggest thing I'm anticipating happening is the Jets making a move to not draft a receiver, but trade for one. Apparently the Jets they're in talks with both Seattle for DK Metcalf as well as San Francisco with Debo. And it seems like the Jets are trying to, with 2 top 10 picks, Devontae got traded for a first and a second. Tyreek, about the same value as that. So a guy like Debo or DK, a little bit below that, I think one of those, a top 10 first round pick and then maybe a supplemental like third or fourth round pick. And, instead of drafting a rookie at like 10, the Jets could trade maybe their number 10 overall pick packaged with like a third or fourth and get a proven receiver in DK or Debo Samuel. And I think that's what the Jets are trying to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't end up working out a deal with either, but I also would, I'd say there's a good 60-70% chance they work out a deal with one of those two teams to trade one of their 2 top 10 picks for one of those receivers.
And, this is a big Zach Wilson. We're big Zach Wilson guys on this show. We love the man. The guy's awesome. He's a legend. As a Zach Wilson fan, I like the Debo matchup a lot more with Zach Wilson than the DK matchup with Zach Wilson. However, with that being said, I see Seattle trading away DK before San Francisco trades away Debo, just for the sole fact that Seattle's already in a rebuild, and they're admitting they're in a rebuild. San Francisco believes they're just a quarterback away from a Super Bowl, and that quarterback being Trey Lance, which props to your scouting department if you see that, but that's a whole other conversation for later. So unfortunately for Zach Wilson, I see DK being an option, which I guess I shouldn't say unfortunately. It's still DK effing Metcalf. He's the fucking man. Like, he's the man who chased Buda Baker down on a fucking beautiful pick 6. That should have been a pick 6, but Debo's just a freak athlete. But with that being said, Debo's just so much more versatile, so much more useful for a young quarterback that we saw Jimmy Garoppolo's experienced guy use. And so being able to use that as a rookie, I would prefer that a little bit more. But hey, also having a guy that can smoke anyone on any route at any given time, I'll take that too. Zach Wilson, you are going to have a great season next year. I'm so stoked for you. Jets are still going under 500, but that's not Zach Wilson's fault. With that being said, the one thing I have for the draft is The Steelers are drafting a quarterback this year. I know with the signing of Mitch Trubisky and everything, but the Steelers are a homegrown organization. They, from their coaches, from their quarterbacks, from their team, they like to grow from within. They're a very come in the system, let us mold you into what a Steeler player is. I see them trading up to the Giants' first round pick at number 7. I see the Giants trading that away for that spot and maybe a second in order for the Steelers to trade up and get Malik Willis. The reports and the amount of time that Tomlin spent with Malik Willis has been noted. Yes, Mike Tomlin every year is very good at doing the game of going to the combine, going to pro days. He's very good at that. But the amount of time he spent with Malik Willis and what draft experts and what everyone has been saying about Malik Willis, I believe he is a perfect fit for what the Steelers are going to try to do, and especially with this new offense. Dude, and that scares me. Like Malik Willis sitting down for a year and a half while Mitch Trubisky's under contract, and then he comes in. I mean, that's scary, bro. Steelers might be chilling, bro. Mike Tomlin might continue with going without a winless season.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the Steelers are one of 2 teams that are going to try for Malik Willis. I think it's either them or Seattle.
Yes.
I think Carolina goes with Kenny Pickett because Matt Rule, if he doesn't do something right this year, he's going to get fired.
Yeah.
So I would imagine Matt Rule is going to push for the most established quarterback he can get and try to get Kenny Pickett, who's got 40 some starts over his college career.
No, I completely agree. Kenny Pickett probably the best quarterback coming out of this draft. With
the most ready. The most
game ready. Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Like Trevor Lawrence was the most game ready quarterback out of last year's draft.
Was he though?
I mean, when you got your coach sticking finger guns up a co-ed's butt, it's hard to be as ready as you can be, you know?
Yeah, so
Let's not
see.
forget when we go through this NFL offseason and preseason and going into the season, let's not forget that one of the most talented quarterbacks coming into the NFL had arguably the worst head coach to have in a rookie season. Let's not forget that when we trash the Jaguars.
Well, one of the worst head coaching disasters in NFL history. If we're being honest.
That was such a shit.
I mean, it's not often you get fired before even making it through a full season.
God.
Like most guys will get at least a 2 or 3 year window before they're fired. Urban Meyer managed to not even make it a full season.
And the best part was he didn't even get fired after like the scandal of cheating on his wife and shit like that. He got fired after some other football bull after it came out that he kicked his kicker. I mean, it was ridiculous. Just so stupid. But
yeah,
Noah, anything else?
Just a terribly run organization. Oh, my other big one that I'm curious is looking at the Packers and the Chiefs. 2 teams that have 2 first-round picks and plenty of other picks in the draft.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. Both teams obviously looking for a receiver. I wouldn't be surprised to see either the Packers or the Chiefs package one of the first-rounders with maybe a second-round pick to move up to that like 12 to 15 slot to take, the second or third receiver off the board. I wouldn't be shocked to see either of those teams take a stab at if there's a guy they really, really like, because after 15, there's a number of teams that will probably be taking some receivers off the board. So you can get that second or third receiver. You can get your guy if you trade up to that area.
No, I agree. And I think there's going to be, I really believe there is going to be a lot of movement in the first 5 picks. I think Jacksonville is safe at number 1 and the Lions are safe at number 2. But 3, 4, 5, I would not be shocked. When's Carolina 6, right?
Yeah, I think the top 5 will all probably stay put where they are.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Carolina trade back, especially if they're looking to draft Kenny Pickett. They don't need to take Pickett at 6. Like they can trade back to probably I don't know, 10, 12, even 15 and probably still get Kenny Pickett. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Carolina maybe accumulate another draft pick by going back a few spots.
Yeah. I mean, if they feel confident enough that no one else is going to draft him, I mean, he's a great talent. I mean, you never know what some teams' plans are. I mean, the Giants, for example, could be planning to move on from Daniel Jones, and no one knows. You know, Daniel Jones coming up on his 3rd or 4th year, right?
Yeah, I think his 4th now, but um, I think the main consensus there is everyone's still like, well, he's never had a good offensive line and he's had injured receiving weapons. And so, like, everybody keeps saying, oh, maybe he's not that bad. He just hasn't had a chance because he can't, like, get any protection or, like, have receivers to throw to. And, I don't agree with that. I think he's just not the right guy. But it seems like the Giants still aren't, like, they're still, like, married to the idea of Daniel Jones being the quarterback and Saquon. And I would assume they're taking an offensive lineman.
Yeah. I
I would be shocked if they don't.
No, I agree with you. In my mock, I have them taking an O lineman as well. But we'll see. We'll see. No, we can talk about the NFL all day, and we will talk about the NFL all day tomorrow. Let's move to the hard court, and not the hard court we like, but the NBA, the association. Do you want to start with? Okay, no, we're going to start with the Suns. We're going to start with our boys because let me tell you, after watching all these sports analysts and everyone just dog on the Suns after those last 2 losses, which, don't get me wrong, much deserved. Much deserved. The Suns did not play to their full potential, especially since they have played and won without Chris Paul. Follow us on Degenerate Takes. I posted a nice thread.
Without Booker.
Yeah, I'm sorry, without
I
Booker.
think that's what you're referring to. Yeah.
Yes, sir, without Booker.
12-3 this season without Booker in the regular season, I think.
Yes, I wrote a nice Twitter thread regarding their statistics and how last game was more reflective of the past and blah, 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 blah. Go follow us on Twitter at DGenTakes. It's a good read. But, I mean, bro, watching them last night was so surreal. It was like, okay, thank God. Like, this is the team I know and love. This is the deep bench that keeps us in the game and keeps us with the lead and not letting too much up. These are the starters who step up, next man up mentality. Chris Paul, who we love. This is the DA from U of A. Finally letting him cook a little bit underneath the rim. I mean, bro, the Suns were on fire the other night for Game 5, excuse me. Game 6 will be tomorrow night. Cannot wait for that. Suns are winning this. I mean, this is the Sun series. They finally got their groove back. I'm all in on that. It's going a little bit longer than expected, but it's good for Booker's recovery if he's still hurt. Dude, Suns all the way, bro. Suns all the way. It's not even a question.
Yeah, I mean, I figured with this one, my guess was that it was going to go 6 after that Game 2 loss and, it being announced that Booker was going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. I said, this series probably goes 6, maybe even 7. I wasn't worried about whether or not the Suns were going to win this series, but I figured that the Pelicans would take more than just that Game 2. Especially, they've been playing really hot. I mean, Brandon Ingram especially has been cooking. He's been cooking.
Alvarado's been cooking us, bro.
McCollum's had some really good games. Alvarado's going to be a really good player. He's just a rookie. He's going to be a very Patrick Beverley type, gets under guys' skin.
Yes.
He's not as, like, verbally in your face as Patrick Beverley, but he's annoying. He's a pest is what he is. He's always lurking around. He's small. You lose track of him, and the next thing you know, he comes from behind. He's forced Chris Paul into 2 8-second violations by not letting him get across half court. And that's Chris Paul. And Chris Paul obviously getting a technical both times that happened because he was so frustrated. And, like, that's Alvarado. He gets under your skin, man. I think he's going to be a really good role player in the league for, like, a long time, I think.
No, absolutely. And
he's never going to be a superstar, but
no, he will be a great role player, though, as you said. Before we continue with NBA talk, I do want to bring up one interesting stat. I know we only have a couple minutes left here, Noah, but in Game 4, for those games played on Saturday, the Suns, Hawks, and the Grizzlies, Timberwolves, each team that won that night shot over 40 free throws, and the teams that they lost to shot 20 or less. And so I'm not saying the NBA is rigged, but that's an interesting stat line. Let's talk about it continuing Tuesday, though.
I just real quick have to jump in with Scott Foster is reffing
Game
tonight.
6?
No, he's reffing tonight, so he should be off tomorrow in New Orleans. So don't have to worry about that. Obviously, everybody knows Scott Foster, the worst, most corrupt ref, great at extending series, although he's not doing a very good job as the Bucks are absolutely taking it to the Bulls tonight. But yeah,
Paul,
he shouldn't be.
14-0.
Yeah, shouldn't be on Game 6 for the Suns Pelicans.
Chris Paul is 0-14 in playoff games. Scott Foster has reffed, including the game last Saturday. Noah, one of the big stories I want to talk about before we have to hop off here. Ice cold. Trae Young leads the Hawks to get just demolished by the Heat in their last effort. Not demolished, 3-point game, but still not a pretty series for the Hawks. Did not see playoff Trae like I was expecting. One of the
I mean, it's a 1 versus 8 seed, so
yes, no, 100% no. I'm on that. I agree with you. The Hawks are nowhere near where the Heat are. Where it comes to talent, they should be happy with the fact that they kept it in. Are you worried? But it's a hot topic right now because Trae Young's the player out of there. Is Trae Young cold? Does he get nervous in the playoffs, or did he just have a bad series?
He had an underwhelming series. If he played better, the series would still be going right now.
True.
And I'm not putting all the blame on him because obviously there's a whole team, and you're in a kind of screwed position when you're needing your best player to go for 40 points and 13 assists a night to win games. There's just so much immense pressure on him because he doesn't have enough of a team around him to do that. So I don't blame him at all. Like, whatever, he had a less than his normal series, so he's probably a little bit disappointed in his performance. But you know what? I mean, Miami was going to win this series the whole time. I had Miami in 6 games. They won it in 5. But yeah, I don't think too many people were expecting Atlanta to take this series.
No, not at all. And for a good reason. That Heat team, especially, well, Jimmy Butler's out right now, right? He's got a little injury going on.
For now, it was like knee inflammation.
That's right.
So he was out.
He was out for the game.
Out for game 5. Yeah.
Okay, so that's at least good news for you Heat fans out there. Noah, it's about that time of the day. You got anything else to say to the D-Gens before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I just want to say definitely keeping an eye on the 76ers and Raptors series. The only series where the outcome I picked is looking in jeopardy. I did take the Raptors. However, they're going, they're playing back in Toronto in game 6, chance to tie the series up 3-3, and Doc Rivers in his history of blowing 3-1 leads. Who knows?
Well, hey, we will see. With that being said, we will be live tomorrow on YouTube for the entire draft. Please, if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter, anything at DGenTakes, and we'll give you updates on that. We'll be live hopefully about 10 minutes before the draft starts, 10, 15 minutes, so we can get a little bullshit in. But we'll be bullshitting all night because that's how the draft goes. With that being said, have a great night. Bet the whole damn board because you damn as well might. And we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.